Valve and Gabe Newell, better known as Gaben, are two names that are hard to separate from the world of video games, especially when it comes to competitive multiplayer games. Who doesn't know Counter-Strike and Dota? These games have millions of loyal fans all over the world, but Valve is more than just those two games. They changed the way we buy and play video games. Thanks to Valve platform Steam, we no longer need CDs or DVDs to play video games. Steam made it easy to download and buy video game right from the internet. It changed everything. And of course, Gabe Newell has become an internet legend. Not only is he known as the co-founder of Valve, he also shows up in tons of internet memes. If you spend time online, you've probably seen his face everywhere. Valve's success comes from Gaben's smart ideas and the company's unique way of doing things. They don't always follow the rules. That's part of what makes them stand out. So, how did Valve become one of the most successful game companies in the world? And what makes their way of making games so different? This is Story of Valve. Valve wouldn't exist without Microsoft. Before founding Valve, Gaben spent 13 years working at Microsoft, building his career in the world of software development. During his time there, he played a key role in developing the Windows operating system. You could say Gaben was in the right place at the right time. As Windows grew into the most popular operating system in the world, Gaben's work helped him earn millions and gave him valuable experience that would shape his future. But Gaben wasn't just a software engineer. He was also a huge fan of Doom, one of the most popular first-person shooter of his time. He didn't just play Doom, he helped bring it to Windows. As a developer, he led the project to port Doom to run on Windows 95, making the game more accessible to wider audience. Behind all his success at Microsoft though, Gaben had a bigger dream. He wanted to build something of his own, a video game company. With the money he made at Microsoft, Gaben teamed up with fellow Microsoft dev Mike Harrington to start something new. That something became Valve. Founded in 1996, Valve's goal was simple: make games. But not just any games. Their first project was a first-person shooter inspired by Doom. But Gaben didn't just want to copy what was already out there. He had a bigger vision. He wanted to mix the fast, intense gameplay of Doom with something most shooters didn't have at the time: a strong, cinematic story. The result was Half-Life. Released in 1998, Half-Life was a sci-fi horror FPS that completely changed the game, literally. Valve didn't have their own engine yet, so they licensed the Quake engine from id Software, the same tech behind the legendary Quake games. And since Valve wasn't a publisher yet, they partnered with Sierra Entertainment to get the game out into the market. When Half-Life dropped, it blew everyone's minds away. Gamers and critics couldn't stop talking about it. The storytelling, the atmosphere, the gameplay, it all felt new and next level. While most shooters at the time were arena-style fragfest like Doom and Quake, Half-Life added depth, characters, and a real sense of narrative. It was risky. No one had really done this before in an FPS genre, but it worked. Half-Life helped push the entire genre forward. If you fast forward today, it's clear how much of an impact it had. So many modern shooters owe their story-driven design to what Valve did back then. By 1999, Half-Life had become the 5th best-selling game in the US, earning over $16 million. You think that kind of success would light a fire under Valve to start pumping out new games, right? Nope. For the next 6 years, Valve didn't release a single new title. Instead, they focused all their energy on Half-Life, refining it, expanding it, and building a solid foundation for the future. During those early years, Valve wasn't just sitting around. One of their big moves were teaming up with Gearbox Software. Yes, the same company behind Borderlands. Gearbox created and released 3 expansion packs for Half-Life, expanding the game's world even further. But Valve didn't stop at just working with other devs. They did something what gamers absolutely love. They embraced the modding community. Valve released the Half-Life Software Development Kit (SDK) to the public for free. That means anyone could take Half-Life, tweak it, remix it, and build something completely new from it. This open approach wasn't just bold, it was brilliant. From the very start, Valve showed they trusted their community. They gave fans the tools, the freedom, and the platform to get creative. And in return, the modding scene exploded. Valve wasn't just watching from the sidelines. They kept a close eye on the mods people were making, and 2 of them caught Gaben's eye: Team Fortress and Counter-Strike. Let's talk about Counter-Strike. Who would have guessed that a fan-made mod would turn into one of the biggest names in the competitive gaming and esports? Counter-Strike first dropped as a mod in 1999. Right from the start, it grabbed attention with its tactical, team-based gameplay, and strong competitive vibes. It was completely different from the arena-style shooters of the time. A big part of CS success came from its creator, Min Lei, a well-known figure in the modding community who had already made a name for himself through Quake mods. Even before the game went official, the hype was real. Within just 2 weeks of the mod's release, the official Counter-Strike website pulled in over 10,000 visits. That was huge back then. Valve saw the potential and made a smart move. They bought the rights to the Counter-Strike and hired Min Lei and the rest of the dev team. In 2000, Counter-Strike was officially released as a standalone game under the Valve banner. Before that, it was just a Half-Life mod. Fast forward today, Counter-Strike is still dominating. It's not just a game. It's a pillar of competitive gaming, with a massive esports tournament, millions of players, and a legacy that's still growing. Thanks to its tight gameplay, community roots, and Valve support, Counter-Strike has earned its spot as one of the most influential games of all time. The rise of Counter-Strike was just the beginning. Thanks to its massive success, Valve's name was blowing up in the gaming world. But behind the scenes, things were changing. In 2000, Mike Harrington, one of the Valve co-founders, decided to step away from the company. Word is, he wanted to spend more time with his family, especially his wife. That left Gaben as the sole captain of the Valve ship. But even with one founder gone, Valve wasn't slowing down. In fact, this is when things really started heating up. Valve was already thinking ahead. They had 2 big ideas in the works: the Source Engine and Steam. Steam back then totally different from what we know today. Before it became the massive game store and launcher it is now, Steam started off as a simple tool. Its main job was to deliver game updates and patches, especially for multiplayer titles like Counter-Strike. Gaben saw a problem back then. Multiplayer was booming, but getting everyone on the same version of the game was a mess. On top of that, cheating was starting to become a serious issue, so he had a solution: create a platform that could handle both updates and anti-cheat support all in one place. Before building it in-house, Valve actually pitched the idea to a few big names, from Microsoft to Yahoo. But they all said no. So, Valve did what Valve does best. They built it themselves. After a year of development, Steam launched in 2003. But it doesn't become a full-on game store right away. The real turning point came in 2004 with the release of Half-Life 2. Here's where Valve pulled a bold move. If you wanted to play Half-Life 2, you had to use Steam. Even if you bought the game on a disc, it still requires Steam to install and launch it. It was risky play. Not everyone loved the idea at the time, but Gaben saw the future. And this move helped turn Steam into the giant platform it is today. At first, Valve's big Steam move didn't set well with fans. Gamers were not happy. For starters, you had to be online to activate Half-Life 2, even if you bought the physical copy. That might sound normal today, but back in 2004, not everyone had internet access. And even if they did, it was often slow and unreliable. On top of that, Steam itself was still super laggy and buggy. It was clunky, crashed often, and caused all kind of issue when you just want to play your game. Imagine finally getting your hands on Half-Life 2, popping in a disc, and then Steam crashes on startup. It was frustrating, and people weren't shy about voicing their complaints. But in hindsight, that rough start was the beginning of something massive. This was the real start of digital game distribution, the beginning of the end for game discs, CD keys, and physical copies. Steam was carving the path for a new way to buy, update, and play video games. By 2005, Valve opened the door to third-party developers, letting other studios sell their games through Steam. That move changed everything. Still, the early years were rough. Steam's performance wasn't great, the UI was ugly, and players weren't thrilled about having to launch it just to play games they already own. But Valve didn't give up. They kept improving Steam, adding new features, fixing bugs, and slowly turning it into more than just a launcher. Over time, it became a full-on gaming ecosystem, a place to buy, update, and launch video games. On top of that, it also became a marketplace for in-game items, a social hub, and mod-sharing community. Eventually, it became the must-have app for every PC gamer. While Steam was growing, Valve was also working on something else behind the scenes, the Source Engine. Launched in 2004 alongside Counter-Strike Source, it was the spiritual successor to their old Gold Source engine. It wasn't designed to be flashy or overly complicated. It was built to power Valve future titles. And finally, Valve had their own in-house engine. No more licensing someone else's tech like they did with the original Half-Life. With both Steam and Source release, Valve got back to what they do best, making video games. As always, they did it their way. Unlike most studios, Valve didn't chase trends or pump out sequels just to cash in. Their strategy was unique. They often built full games based on successful mods or experimental titles. And as we see, that approach would lead to some of the most iconic titles in gaming history. Let's talk about Valve heavy hitters: Team Fortress 2, Portal, Left 4 Dead, and Dota 2. What's wild is, they all have something in common. None of them started as original ideas from Valve. Every single one of them came from mods, student projects, or outside studios. But Valve saw the potential and turned those ideas into good games. Let's start with Team Fortress 2. Released in 2007, TF2 is a team-based multiplayer shooter that actually started out as a Half-Life mod, just like Counter-Strike. But instead of going the realistic tactical route, Team Fortress 2 leaned into a colorful, cartoony style with goofy character and fast-paced action. The gameplay is chaotic, creative, and ridiculously fun. TF2 humor and style made it stand out, and it built a cult following that's still going strong today. Then, there's Portal, a totally different vibe. This one came from a group of students at the DigiPen Institute of Technology. They built a game called Narbacular Drop, a puzzle platformer that includes the whole Portal mechanic. Valve saw it at a student expo, loved it, and did the most Valve thing ever: hire the entire student team. The result was Portal, released in 2007 as part of the Orange Box. It was a hit, a short, smart puzzle game with a mystery story, mind-bending physics, and one unforgettable AI named GLaDOS. Left 4 Dead started as a project team from Turtle Rock Studios, who wanted to build a co-op zombie shooter using Valve's Source Engine. Valve loved the idea so much they didn't just help, they bought the whole studio. The result was Left 4 Dead. Launched in 2008, it was a blast. Fast, frantic, and all about teamwork. It became a staple for anyone who loved co-op chaos. Just a year later, Left 4 Dead 2 dropped with even more content and improvements. And to this day, fans are still holding out hope for a Left 4 Dead 3. And there's Dota 2, Valve's big move into MOBA scene. It all started with the original Defense of the Ancients mod for Warcraft 3, a fan-made game mode that took on a life of its own. By 2009, Valve saw the hype and reached out to IceFrog, the mod's mysterious lead developer. They brought him on board to create a new standalone version of the game, but it wasn't smooth sailing. Blizzard, the creator of Warcraft, weren't too happy about Valve trying to claim the Dota name. There was a long legal battle, but in the end, Valve secured the rights. In 2013, Dota 2 officially launched. It was huge, a full-blown competitive title that quickly became one of the biggest esports in the world. The insane popularity of Dota didn't just come out of nowhere. It all started way back in 2003 with the original Dota mod on Warcraft. So, when Valve dropped Dota 2, that community followed, and it exploded. But Valve didn't stop at just making the game. They wanted to take it to the next level. That's where the International came in. In 2011, Valve launched the International, a global Dota 2 tournament that instantly became a biggest event in esports. We are talking millions of viewers every year and prize pools that break records. Today, the International is home to some of the biggest prize pool in gaming history. Like in 2021, the total prize money hit jaw-dropping $40 million. No other esports tournament even come close. Dota 2, along with Counter-Strike, has basically ruled the competitive gaming scene for over a decade. And because of these games, legendary esports orgs like Team Liquid, Navi, FaZe Clan, and OG rose to the fame, earning glory, titles, and of course, a ton of cash. Valve and Gaben, they're absolutely swimming in success at this point. But here's the thing, Gaben isn't the kind of guy to just chill on success. He's always cooking up something new. Valve starts shifting into hardware business, with Valve Index, their own VR headset, and Steam Deck, a handheld gaming PC that lets you take your Steam library anywhere. Valve Index dropped in 2019, and with it came something special, Half-Life Alyx. Yes, after years of silence, Valve finally gave us a new Half-Life game, but there was a catch. It was VR only. You needed a Valve Index to play it. It was Valve's big move into the world of virtual reality, and honestly, it's classic Valve move. If you look at it, this move is exactly like what they did with Steam 20 years ago. Launch a new platform, drop a killer game that requires it, and boom, instant user base. Right now, Valve Index is still kind of in that experimental phase, but knowing Valve, it's probably just the beginning of something big. On the other hand, the Steam Deck. Valve immediately hit the jackpot with this one. Steam Deck was loved by many because portable gaming has always been a hit. From the PlayStation Portable to the Nintendo Switch, gamers love playing on the go. And now, with the Steam Deck, you can play hundreds of thousands of games in Steam library anywhere, anytime. On launch day, the pre-order hype was so real, it crashed the Steam servers. And due to overwhelming demand, shipments were delayed for months. To date, Steam Deck has reportedly sold between 3.5 to 4 million units. That kind of success doesn't go unnoticed. Valve innovation sparked a wave of new competitors. Asus, Lenovo, and MSI has followed Valve's path on making handheld gaming PC. Valve achievements aren't the result of luck or trend chasing. They stem from something deeper, a philosophy. Unlike most major studios, Valve doesn't chase yearly release cycles or market trends. They build games only when the concept is strong, when the innovation is real, when it feels right. From the narrative depth of Half-Life to the strategic multiplayer revolution of Counter-Strike to Dota 2's dominance in the MOBA scene, Valve only releases when it's ready to redefine the scene. Take a look at their release franchise. Half-Life, 3 main entries across 20 plus years. Left 4 Dead, only 2 titles in over a decade. Counter-Strike 2, succeeding global offensive after nearly 10 years. No annual sequels, no rushed deadlines, just lasting impact. Valve has also embraced something most companies fear: community control. From day one, they've opened their arms to the modding community, offering tools, SDKs, and freedom. Mods didn't just shape Valve ecosystem, they become their games. Valve doesn't just listen to its player, they empower them. That's why their games don't just succeed, they endure. When other video games companies are still competing in the aspect of video games development alone, Valve has moved into the field of video game platform and technology development. Steam, Valve Index, and Steam Deck are proof of Gaben's visionary thinking. And most importantly, Valve is very good at what they do. It is rare for a video game project or platform that they develop to fail. Gaben, as the founder of the company, is also very much loved and liked by fans. He is not the typical unknown businessman who rarely interact with gamers like most other video games company executives. Gaben very often appears in public and in the media with his humorous and easygoing nature. Maybe because of this nature, many gamers respect Gaben more. However, Valve as a large company is certainly not free from controversy. Valve's biggest problems mostly revolve around aspects of policies that tend to harm its consumers. There are several major cases regarding this. The first is the refund policy. Did you know that before 2015, Steam did not have a well and established refund policy? Yes, there was a time when you couldn't easily return a game you had purchased when it didn't meet your expectation or was in a poor quality. Valve was sued and fined by the Federal Court of Australia for not having a proper refund policy for consumers and tending to harm consumers. After the lawsuit, Valve finally updated their refund policy. Second, Valve was sued by European Union regarding geo-blocking. Geo-blocking is a system to prevent consumers in certain countries from buying a game at lower price than other countries. The European Union considers this as a violation of market freedom, where consumers have the right to get the appropriate price. Valve denied this allegation by arguing that it was a request from several video game publishers. Nevertheless, the European Union still fined Valve and several game publishers involved. And the last one is a lawsuit against the monopoly of video game market. The lawsuit was filed against Valve in the United States and the United Kingdom, where Valve is accused of forcing game publishers not to sell their games at lower price on other digital platforms such as Epic Games Store and GOG. This is certainly a violation and falls under anti-competitive practices because Valve take advantage of their position that already dominates and control the digital video game distribution market. In addition to anti-consumer cases, Valve's big scandal that is no less popular is the case of accusation of facilitating and ignoring gambling schemes. The gambling scheme in question involved in-game items, especially weapon skin in the CSGO. In the CSGO, players can get cosmetic items such as weapon skins. These items can be traded through the Steam marketplace or through third-party sites. The problem arises when these third-party sites add gambling game features to bet on these various items. Because some items have high selling values, this feature immediately attracts the attention of players around the world. The problem is, Valve doesn't seem to care and allow these sites to use the Steam API to facilitate gambling schemes. But after the massive pressure from the public and legal aspect, Valve finally took steps to limit access to the Steam API. Despite all of that controversies, after everything Valve has been through, Valve Corporation's journey from a small developer to a major industry innovator showcases the power of creativity, risk-taking, and forward-thinking design. With a legacy built on iconic games and transformative technologies like Steam, Valve has not only entertained millions, but also reshaped the landscape of modern gaming. So, Valve looks like still going to be around for a long time in the future. Who knows?